A devastating drought, one of the worst recorded in many years, is taking its toll on communities across many countries in Africa. The Horn of Africa region and several Eastern and Southern African nations are grappling with the challenge of addressing the pressing and urgent need for food and water that has led to the loss of several lives and displacement of many families. Parts of Kenya, Somalia, Ethiopia, Uganda and Southern Sudan have been affected. Several counties in Kenya's northern, eastern and Rift Valley regions have been hard hit by drought following the prolonged failure of rains. The pictures of devastation and desperation are telling, a reminder of the challenge ahead. According to the Kenya Red Cross, the number of people in urgent need of food aid stands at well over 2 million.
In this current drought, unlike in 2011, the government already from October last year started responding.
So dire is a situation that the government and non-governmental organizations have had to dig deeper to find the resources needed to address this pressing problem.
Somalia has been hit by drought for 2 consecutive seasons, and this has hit the country very badly. The Middle Shebelle River has dried up, and also the pastoral community has been very hard hit by drought. This is caused by a lack of water, but also a lack of food. If you look at the humanitarian assistance, what you want to do is give the people food right now. Don't wait for after the famine is declared, because then people have died already. So you really want to give the people food at this moment. If you look at resilience, or you can also invest in resilience. Some NGOs have been doing that the last few years. And these communities are the ones who are being less affected than other communities. And therefore it is important to look at the longer term instead of only giving food assistance when it's needed.
The government of Kenya declared drought a national disaster in February 2017, and the state has been distributing relief food and water to the most affected communities, apart from cash transfer programs and livestock destocking measures. However, the challenge to reach the hardest hit sections of society is clear for all to see, but with the support of all Kenyans, it is a surmountable task. Most of the affected people in remote parts of the country desperately await relief food to ease their suffering. The World Food Programme in its latest report states that well over 300,000 children are suffering from acute malnutrition. According to the findings of a baseline survey carried out by Vision Quest in the 5 counties of Wajir, Garissa, Isiolo, Turkana and Marsabit, milk production has dropped by 50% due to the drought cycle. Away from the figures and reports painting a grim picture of the current situation, the still pictures and video clips from all corners of the affected counties in the country raise alarm bells. The remains of animals that succumbed to the drought litter the roadside. Herdsmen have had to literally help their animals find their feet in an increasingly hostile, drought-hit environment that has even seen the once strong beast of burden seek support to soldier on. In the vast northeastern region, drought has affected the communities there that cling to livestock rearing as a means of their livelihood and their main ticket to greater heights of development. The desperate search for water has seen herdsmen and their families risk life and limb to dig deeper in their search from the bowels of the earth, a risky venture that sometimes fails to strike the precious commodity. From Mandera to Wajir and Garissa counties, families desperately hope for support during these tough times. Across the country, it is the women and children who have been left the most vulnerable by the ravaging drought. Many are forced to trek long distances to access water. A drive in the drought-hit areas across the country reveals the true extent of the devastation. Dried up trees in the countryside and farms where crops have withered under the searing heat following the prolonged drought, food shortages pose a challenge to many families. In neighboring Somalia, drought has taken its toll, with well over 6 million people urgently in need of assistance. Communities have been forced to cross regional borders in their desperate search for pasture, food and water. It is clear that much more needs to be done to save the hardest hit segments of society during these desperate and trying times. The need to act urgently is clear for all to see.